Okay, guys, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I guess we can hear you now.
Yes.
So everything is good now?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Right, so here's the plan for today. We're going to continue with your home task. Your home task was to finish the exercise on effective academic writing. So we will discuss that, and then we'll continue talking about IEEE reference style, just to make sure that everybody is familiar with that. And that will be all. That would be all for today. So we're going to start with your home task. So why don't you open your files for those 20 sentences on academic writing style, on effective academic writing style. As far as I remember, we have done the first 5 of those. And we're going to continue with number 6. So did you open the file?
Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
So is everybody ready to check?
Yeah.
All right. Cool. So just a second. Okay, we're continuing with number 6. Number 6. Right. Just a sec. Right, number 6. Alexei Grigoriev, could you do number 6, please?
Sure. Their lack of experience complicated the building of a new company.
So the lack of experience complicated the building of the new company.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, the trouble with this sentence is that the lack of experience is the abstract noun. So therefore, it would be a nominalization, which is highly recommended to be avoided. Okay, so I would make this sentence into the following: they lacked experience, which complicated how they built the new company. So I took that nominalization and I transformed it into a verb. So once again, they lacked experience, which complicated how they built the new company.
So you shouldn't only remove the passive voice here, but remove this kind of nominalization, right?
Not only sentence 6 has got numerous troubles. First of all, it has got passive voice, the ineffective one, because you got that by preposition. All right, and second of all, it has got redundancy, so it's wordy. The word undertaking is totally redundant, so you don't really need it. It's just there. It does not add anything to the meaning. And the last one is that lack of experience. So lack of experience describes the process. So basically, lack of experience says that they do not have the required experience. So it's like that. Was I able to explain?
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions on
Thank
6? Any other questions on 6?
No.
All right, let's continue. Number 7. Sergey Kotelnikov, please.
Sorry. The implementation of this institute program was insightful for them.
See, once again, you got the implementation. So,
okay, I see, okay.
yeah, it's nominalization. So I would go with this. They insightfully interpreted how the institute implemented its program. Okay.
Can we do like this? The institute had insightful interpretation of program implementation.
See, you got two nouns side by side, and all those nouns they show the process. So if you can avoid nouns which show the process, you'd better do so. So you got interpretation and implementation side by side, which makes your text which makes your text harder to read.
Right. Sure.
Right. So you know, lots of researchers, they publish their texts and they have that trouble, that nominalization trouble. If you overuse nominalization, it makes your text harder to read. And I believe you want people to be able to read your text a lot. So you might want to really avoid that nominalization thing.
And
It's
can
not
we
always
use,
possible, yeah. Sergey, go ahead.
and can we use something like in an insightful way?
In an insightful way, you can, but in an insightful way, it's 4 words, and insightfully, it's only 1 word. So the key, the aim here, the target is to make your sentence as short as possible. So basically, if you can lose the word, do so.
But then we miss there. We miss them.
You're missing them.
It's written. Yes, it's written there. Their interpretation. We miss them. Those people.
No, you don't.
But those people. No.
No, you don't. See, once again, they insightfully interpreted. So in the original, right? There in the original, you got there. Okay, so that there, that possessive shows the logical subject. So you just transform it into a pronoun, into a personal pronoun.
Mm-hmm.
Was I able to explain?
Yes.
Okay, let's continue with 8. And Artur, could you do number 8, please?
Okay, так, 8. First, they introduce his analysis of dreams in patterns with insurers.
Just one thing. You've got there. It implies that there are several people involved. So they introduce their analysis.
Okay.
Okay, and second of all, it's again that analysis is a case of nominalization. Okay. Instead of that, you might want to write something like they introduced how they analyzed the trauma patient's dreams.
Am I right? General idea, it's a very simple text for another listener.
Exactly, yeah. You want to produce as simple a text as possible because you want your readers to you know, it's there's really lots of information out there, and there are really lots and lots of publications out there. And if your text is hard, if your text is difficult to understand, chances are that other researchers would have troubles reading that. I mean, you probably, I mean, all of you have probably had that experience of having unreadable researchers, unreadable research. Okay.
Okay,
So
thank you.
you don't really want that to happen.
Thank you.
Right. Number 9. Number 9. Hamna, could you do number 9?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's she quitting the job is an evidence of her understanding of the situation.
Okay, see, once again, her quitting the job, this is a case of nominalization. So, because it shows the process.
Mhm.
And the logical, like the natural order of things is to use verbs to show the process. So you might want to say, she quit the job. Like when she quit the job, she showed that she understood the situation.
Okay.
So see, it's not fiction. It's not literature. It's a very utilitarian, it's a very practical approach to the texts, because you want to drive information to your readers, and you want your readers to have as less trouble understanding that as possible. Was I able to explain?
Yeah. Thank
All
you.
right. Okay, cool. Number 10, Alexey Grigoriev, please.
Sorry, the mic was off.
Yeah, number 10.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We should consider several factors.
Absolutely. Once again, take into consideration it's wordy. There is no point of having, a verb plus a noun where you can just have a verb. So we should consider several factors. Perfect. Thank you. Number 11, Sergey.
12, I guess. No, sorry, yes, 11. He
Yeah,
must
yes,
decide what to do.
Yeah, he must decide what to do. Absolutely. Number 12, Artur.
Yeah. 12.
Mhm.
Information about new research work came from them.
See, once again, it's nominalization.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it could be better to say they informed us. All right, because
Okay.
that information shows the process. Okay, and you use verbs for processes. So they informed us about the new research program.
I see. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 13, Hamna.
Okay. The impact of X factor gene on B gene expression is analyzed.
I would go with, we analyzed X factor's impact on B gene expression.
Okay.
Do you understand why I did so?
Yeah, it's much clearer because the subject, the people who are doing the action, they are in the
Yeah.
beginning, so it adds
Right.
on to clarity.
Right, so you might want to really look into who does what, okay? And once you understand what is the logical subject, place it into the actual subject, into the sentence. And try to avoid passive voice. Lots of researchers, they like passive voice for some reason, but according to linguistic research, okay, passive voice makes your text more difficult to understand.
Okay.
Thank you. Right, number 14, Artur.
Just a second.
Uh-huh.
Have technical problem.
That's okay.
What's number questions?
14.
14. Joy explores the impact of the recent draw the local wildlife.
Well, actually, you don't need to replace research with explore, because there is a word, there is a noun, research, and there is a verb, research, like 100% identical to the sound. So you could go with Joe will research. So instead of conduct research, you just have a verb Joe will research.
Okay. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. Number 15, Alexei Grigoriev. That's one.
I guess my turn. Okay.
It's actually Alexei's turn, so I try not to you know, follow the pattern here.
Okay.
Right.
David
please.
Foster Wallace. Is that my turn?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay.
Please.
Okay. David Foster Wallace collected a lot of data to write his book in finite jest.
Thank you. So instead of the collection of, which is nominalization again, and because it shows the process, but it's a noun. So you replace the collection with a verb. So David Foster Wallace, he collected data. Thank you.
And led to his book was also replaced. Is it okay? Like,
I would go with David Foster Wallace collected data and wrote. Infinite jest, because you know, led to is redundant. Obviously, if you're saying that he collected data and then wrote the book, it is implied that the collection of the data, I mean, the writing of the book resulted in the collection of the data resulted in writing the book. Therefore, led to is redundant. You don't really need it.
Yeah. So is it good to write a lot of data that he collected a lot of data to write, like in the infinitive form? Is it
a lot of data to write? Yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
Just one thing. The original does not say that he collected a lot of data.
Yeah, that was my addition.
So it's like the changing of the meaning.
Sure.
Okay. Number 16, Sergey, please.
Here I'm not sure. Our lack of data prevented us no, wait a second. I mean, here I'm not sure really.
Yeah, see, let's take a look at the sentence. Our lack of data. All right, first of all, this is not lack of data. This is not a concrete noun. Second of all, it's an abstract noun, right? And third of all, it shows a process. See, lack of data. You know, one of the signal that you have nominalization there is that of preposition. If you got of, it means that you've got two nouns side by side, which is already not good, but tolerable. But it can be tolerated. But it's a good sign that you are having nominalization on your hands. All right.
So because we lack the data.
Sure. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
As
because
primitive,
we lack the.
Yeah, as primitive as that.
Let me see.
So you could go. You could. Yeah, Hannah.
Can we replace lack of data because it's like 3 words with insufficient data? It's 2 words.
We can, but you know, insufficient is quite a long word. I would go with because we lacked data.
Okay.
You know, in English, they got that mechanism which is called conversion. Basically, you can use practically any part of speech as a verb. So, like that. So, because we lacked data, we could not evaluate whether the UN had targeted funds to areas that most needed help.
All right.
So once again, if you take a look at the original sentence, you will see those of prepositions which signal ineffective combinations of nouns. So
question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry for interruption. Why we are starting with because we lacked data? Why we are not starting with we could not evaluate UN actions and then because we lack data?
That's a possibility, yes. So you're starting with the fact and then you explain it. Yeah, sure. I mean, the sentence that you said is actually the natural order of things. Yeah, that's certainly possible. The difference between because we lack data we could not evaluate and we could not evaluate because we lack data is that in your variant there will be no comma.
Okay.
In the first variant you have to use the comma. But
Sure.
yeah, that's totally possible.
We have guys who's
Who want to join?
Dmitry Popov
Okay.
cannot
Yeah.
join. Thank you.
Thanks for, I just overlooked that. So Dmitry is connecting now. Dmitry, can you hear me? Dmitry? Okay, Dmitry can. Dmitry, we're checking up the home task, the 20 sentences on effective academic texts. So please join in. We're currently doing number 17. So 17, Sergey, could you do 17, please?
Yes. Many voters oppose nuclear power plants, believing they threaten human health.
Absolutely. So many voters oppose nuclear power plants because they believe that such plants threaten human health. So as you can see, the original sentence starts with the preposition there, which is vague, okay? And second of all, you've got the nominalization, opposition, so like there is an opposition.
Can I comment on this?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so I agree that we changed opposition to oppose, but it changes the meaning of the sentence because in the sentence, there is an opposition among voters, like there is a disagreement between them. It's not like they are opposing together the creation of nuclear power plants, but there is sort of a disagreement between them. So it changes the meaning of the sentence when we change opposition among them to opposing nuclear power plants. It like completely changes the meaning of the sentence.
Oh, really? If you take a look at the original, there is opposition among many voters. So it basically says that some of them oppose nuclear power plants.
They do not oppose each other.
Right. Yeah. So the original says that not everybody is against. All right.
Okay.
So that among preposition basically says that within the set of voters, there is the subset which, I mean, who are against the nuclear power plants. But even in this case, the fact that they disagree is implied. And if you take a look at the sentence, many voters opposed nuclear power plants, you will also see the same implication there. So like many voters oppose, that sentence implies that not everybody is against.
Yeah, I got it.
Like that. Was I able to explain?
Yeah, very well. Thank
All right.
you.
Okay, cool. Right. Number 18. Dmitry, do you think you can do number 18? Dmitry? Could you use your voice, please?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, but very low. Okay, Dmitry, could you do number 18, please?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, but you'd better speak up. Number 18, please.
So here the group discussed how to
I understand you're trying to do number 19.
19 and you do.
Yeah, you want to do number 18. 18.
18. Oh,
Yeah.
18. Okay. So the university trustees decided to construct a health science building.
Absolutely. The university trustees decided to construct a health science building. So in the original, you got your nominalization, the decision. So it's a noun, which shows the process. It's not supposed to be like that. And you got ineffective passive made by, so the logical subject is the university trustees. So the more effective sentence would be the university trustees decided to construct a health science building. Thank you, Dmitry. Right, number 19. Hamna, could you do number 19, please?
Sure. The group discussed how to surprise the girl on her birthday without her knowing. And I don't know how to change knowing to know.
Right. If you take a look at the original once again, without her knowing, you will see that knowing is like a case of nominalization, because you know it's a gerund. Technically, yeah. It's not a noun. It's a gerund, but gerund is a weird thing. Gerund is like a cross between a noun and a verb. So it's not really a verb, and you might want to have a verb here. But if you're saying that you want to surprise somebody, okay, you imply that the person the person who you are going to surprise does not have the knowledge of the thing which you're going to use to surprise him or her, okay? Therefore, without her knowing is redundant, so you can just lose it.
Got it. Thank you.
If you say surprise, you already mean that the girl would not know anything. So you would just go with the group discussed how to surprise, how to surprise a girl with a birthday. Yeah, I would go with the group discussed how to plan the surprise party for the girl.
Okay, thank you.
Right. And the last one, number 20, and there'll be Artur.
Yogi, I'm sorry, but I have no answer on these questions.
That's
it's
okay,
too
no
hard for my level.
Okay.
All right, no
I can
problem.
try.
Alexey Grigoriev, go ahead.
Mike hoped to preserve his relationship with Molly, but Tani made the breakup inevitable.
You actually missed some piece of information about Tony's meddling.
Yeah, but Tony meddling is the word I need to replace, right? Or it is a nominalization itself.
It is nominalization, yes.
But Tony meddled and made the breakup inevitable.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, that's perfectly okay. Mike hoped to preserve his relationship with Molly, but Tony has meddled and made the breakup inevitable. But when you think of it, you might want to lose meddle like all the way, because you know, to make the breakup, oh no, you can't. Oh, sorry, my mistake. You can't. You're good. So Mike hoped to preserve his relationship with Molly, but Tony has meddled and made the breakup inevitable. Totally. And if you take a look at the original, at the last word in the original, you will see like a rare case of nominalization. Inevitability, it actually does not show the process, it shows the quality. So inevitability stands for inevitable. Okay, thank you. Please ask me questions about the effective texts and academic style.
Did you just say that Mike hoped for preserving the relationship with Molly?
I actually said this, Mike hoped to preserve his relationship with Molly.
Okay, so the question is like, does it matter? Because we are changing present to past. Like here is like Mike's hope for something like this, and then we are saying Mike hoped, and like, is it a huge difference or is like fine because we are just changing the tense?
Okay, let's take a look at the original. Mike's hope was. Okay, that's past simple, right? And if we're saying Mike hoped, this is also past simple, so there is no change in tense.
Okay, I got it.
Like that. Okay, please ask me some other questions on the effective texts.
May I ask you to repeat your version of number 16?
Sure. And by the way, guys, I will send you the correct answers to the Telegram group so that you will be able to take a look at the more effective variants in the peace and quiet of your own homes. So the effective sentence. Mike hoped to preserve his relationship with Molly.
No, number 16, sorry, number
16.
16.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, let's take a look at number 16. 16, our lack of data preserved. Okay, because we lacked data, we could not evaluate whether the UN had targeted funds to areas that most needed help. Or as Hamna said, we could not evaluate whether the UN had targeted funds to areas that most needed help because we lacked data.
Mm-hmm.
Two options. There are two options here.
Mm-hmm.
Sergey?
No, that's clear.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Ask me some other questions on the effective text, please. Basically, the whole principle behind being effective is to lose anything that does not help your text to be easily understood. So that's the underlying principle. Right. If you don't have any other questions, the plan is to discuss IEEE. I understand not everybody has had the experience of IEEE. So we're going to talk about that. Right, I'm going to show you my screen now. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Right. So IEEE standard, we're going to talk about referencing and in-text citations. First of all, I start with explaining what is IEEE. Then we'll talk about in-text citations. We'll talk about direct quotes and reference, about how to make a reference list as per IEEE standards. And I will show you some more of those links where you can find more, because in this presentation we're only going to concentrate on referring and citing and quoting books, journals, and conference proceedings. But actually, there are much more types of external sources that you might want to cite, refer, or quote. Right. IEEE, well, some of you might know that, but just in case, I want to be 100% sure that everybody knows that. So IEEE is the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers. They issue various standards and various documentation as per the publication. So IEEE referencing is the key type of key type of referencing in computer science. Right, this is the official site, and you probably should know that IEEE has got different like sections devoted to different things. But this is just like the umbrella side for anything and everything with IEEE. Right. Sorry about that. This is the publication manual. This is a mistake, shouldn't be there. Anyway, our primary document and your primary document is this IEEE reference guide. Actually, IEEE is quite inaccurate and sloppy sometimes, and IEEE has got contradicting requirements on publications in different documents. Okay, for some reason we actually talked with IEEE about that, and they could not explain that. But like the primary document is this IEEE reference guide, and you see the link, and this document is available by this link, and the presentation that I'm showing to you now is going to be based on that document. So once again, if you want to quote, cite, or refer to a source, please use this document, IEEE reference guide. So we're going to start with the in-text citations. So the in-text citation, an in-text citation is like when you show in the text of your publication which outside source you're referring to. This is the in-text citation. Okay. So with IEEE, in-text citations are very easy. You're just numbering the sources that you use in your text in the order they appear, and you put that number into your square brackets. You can see the example as demonstrated in, and 3 stands for the source, for the outside source that you are citing, the book, the journal, the conference. This is another example as shown by Brown. Now Brown here is the author of the book, journal, or conference paper. So with the in-text citations with IEEE are very simple. They're just a number in square brackets. Now this is a more complicated case when you're citing like a range of outside sources starting from 4 to 7, like you're citing 3 sources in a row, and this is how you can do it. Another thing is, I mean, we have taken a look at the example as shown by Brown. Brown is the author of the publication, but if there are 3 or more authors to the publication, you want to use et al, like in the example. Just a second. Yeah, if you take a look at the example Wood et al, you will see that in the source that you're citing, there are actually more than 3 names of the authors. Right. Yeah. Any questions on in-text citations?
No.
Guys, I understand that you would probably be using LaTeX or BibTeX or any other quotation software. I understand that you're not going to do that by hand. But see, the trouble is that that citation software, they sometimes make mistakes. Like quite often they may they may misunderstand the name of the author for the parts of the title. Okay, so you just want to understand what principles they're using. Okay, what is the standard procedure for doing everything, for doing your citation and quotation and referencing by hand, to be able to check that software. So that was just a small disclaimer. Right, direct quotes. Now this is how you're going to document those direct quotes. Naturally, you're going to use the quotation marks. And when you provide a quote, you should provide the page numbers. So as you can see in the example, one is the number of your outside source in your reference list, and PP stands for pages. So it is a must that you include page numbers when you provide direct quotation. Now this is another example. If you're quoting, if you're like using a figure from some source, you have to say so. So in example 2, you've got 2, which is the number of the outside source, and fig stands for figure, which is a picture. And this is how you refer to some graphical material in the outside source. As you can see, it is also this is also possible with basically anything, with table, with algorithm, or with some other chunk of the text. What I'm saying is that if you're using a piece of information from the text unchanged, you have to provide where exactly in the source you're taking that from. Okay?
Georgi, I have one question.
Go ahead.
Can we take this presentation in Telegram?
Absolutely, I will send you this presentation after this class, so you will be able to
Okay, thank you very
have
much.
it. Sure. And by the way, you will see the record. You will have the recording of this class as well. Right. Anyway, reference. So far we have talked about in-text citation, quotation, and referencing. Do you guys understand the difference between in-text citation, quotation, and referencing? Because you know it might be confusing for some.
Sorry, I missed what you said.
Right. Okay. I was asking you if you're clear about the difference in text citation, quotation, and referencing. Because in Russian, it's one and the same word. In English, we got 3 words. In Russian, we have got only 1.
I think we are clear, but in-text citation and referencing, isn't it the same thing?
I would not say that those are the same. They're very closely connected. In-text citation, with IEEE, it is only a number in the text, but referencing, this is the list of the sources that your number in the text refers to.
Oh, okay, the list in the end, like at the end of the paper.
Yeah, that's referencing.
Okay, got it. Yeah. Thank you.
Right. And you also have got quotations, which is the exact words inside the quotation marks. So I would like to get some feedback from the Russian speakers. Are you sure that you see the difference between in-text citation, quotation, and referencing? Guys?
No, again, so the reference list is the list just at the end of the article.
Yep.
With the number, I mean, with the list of all the articles
Yep.
that we are using in the current
Yes.
our article. quotation is also should be clear, because it's like just quotes. I mean, you just take some phrase from another source and quote it. And referencing is just those numbers that you just demonstrated us.
No, those numbers are in-text citations. Citations.
So, yeah, sorry, yes, yeah, the other way, yeah.
See, that's why I'm asking, because in Russian, all that is called цитирование.
Yep.
Цитата. Right, okay. So let's continue then.
No, actually, there is a список литературы, which might be a reference list at the end of the article. So it's not totally the same.
It is kind of totally the same, because in English you can say citations, quotations, and referencing. And by saying referencing, you actually mean making the reference list. See? Yeah, but anyway, everybody's clear about those citations, quotations, and referencing. Let's continue. So the most difficult thing with IEEE is referencing. So we're going to talk about some general approaches and about how to refer to a book, an article in a journal, and a conference proceeding. So some general information. Your reference list should be on a separate page. It should have a title, which is references or reference list. Both variants are acceptable. And you should make sure that your citation match your reference. Okay. And vice versa. So make sure that your citation number matches your reference list number. Yeah. So once again, you have to number your references, your sources in the order they appear. And you have to end all references with a period. And one important thing here is if your source has got 7 authors or more, you use only the first author's name and et al. See, there is a difference between using et al for in-text citation and using et al for referencing. With in-text citation, you use et al if the source has got 3 authors or more. But with references, with reference list, you're using et al if the source has got 7 authors or more. Was I able to explain that?
Yes.
All right, cool. Just just to make sure. Right. Take a look at the examples. So example number 1, this is a journal referred. You can understand that this is a journal by seeing the words quarterly in the title and by seeing words vol, which stands for volume. And I would also would like to draw your attention to the fact that the reference list of the list of references, they stand out apart from the number. So as you can see, those numbers, they dangle, they stand out from the text of the reference. Please pay attention to that.
May I ask you a question?
Absolutely, go ahead.
Why we have only one name in the third article, but still use et al?
Well, obviously, Article 3 has got 7 authors or more.
No, isn't that like, okay, I see, okay. So it's not like you mentioned 6 names and then you put et al. You just you just mentioned the first name and then you put et al.
Right, exactly, yes, totally. Basically, at L, it's not all, it's L. At L, it's Latin. It's the complete phrase is at alia, which means and the others. Therefore, if you have got 7 authors or more in the reference list, you use at L. And if you've got 3 authors or more in the in-text citation, you're using at L. So see, the requirements are a bit different in terms of whether you're using in-text citation or the reference list referencing. Okay?
Yes.
Right. I would like you to take a look at source 1 and source 3 from this slide. Both sources, they refer to journals, but in source 1, the name of the journal is not abbreviated, while in source 3, the name of the journal is abbreviated. The thing is that IEEE does not have a consistent opinion on whether to abbreviate the journal titles or not. But since we're going by the document IEEE Reference Guide, we're going to abbreviate the titles of the sources. But you will quite frequently see the non-abbreviated journal titles in different IEEE publications. So you should be aware that there is like a discussion, a discrepancy about whether to abbreviate the journal titles or not. So you will see the non-abbreviated journal titles, but you, in your paper, in your PhD paper, will have to abbreviate the journal titles. Was I able to make that clear?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Is it matter what fonts I have to use in my paper?
No, not really. I mean, in terms of IEEE reference, it doesn't. But the PhD department, they will have some requirement as per the font, like that.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Let's continue, shall we? So we're going to talk about how to cite a book, how to cite a journal, and how to cite a conference proceeding. We're not going to talk about any other information, about how to cite any other source of information. You'll be able to find all that in the document IEEE Reference Guide, which is available by the link. So we're just going to discuss the most frequent sources of information. So, how to reference a book. Now, this is the template for referencing a book. As you can see, you're starting with the author's name. You're starting with the initial of the author, like JK. Okay, and you put a comma, then you write the name of the chapter of the book inside the quotation marks. Then you're writing in, and in italics, you're writing the title of the publication. Once again, nobody really remembers that, and you don't have to remember that as well. You will have your LaTeX or BibTeX or whatever as number 1, and number 2, you'll have the document, the reference guide, where you will be able to see that. You will just have to be familiar with the principle. Take a look at the example. So the author is L. Stein. The chapter of the book is Random Patterns. The book is Computers and You. Okay. JS Break is the name of the editor. Okay. you can also see the information of the edition. So this is the 3rd edition of the book. It was published in New York. Okay, NY, this is the state, and USA is the name of the country. Wiley is the publishing house. In 1994, it's the year when the book was published. And then pages 55 to 70, those are the pages where the chapter random patterns is located in. Take a look at the other one. Now this is just referring to a book without a chapter. Clausenhorn, Robot Vision. As you can see, the title of the book is in italics. Right. Referencing a book online is practically the same. The only thing is that in the end you're adding the so-called access information. So you have to show when you got that book from the internet. You have to show that this is the online source, and you have to show the link. You have to provide the link where the book is available. Let's take a look at the example. So here we're referring to the book Plastics. It's not actually the book, that's like the collection of books, because this is volume 3. And the chapter is Synthetic Structure of Industrial Plastics. As we can see, this is the internet source. Therefore, you're including the access information. So that book was accessed on the 11th of February, 2020. We're including the information that this is the online source, and then we're writing the word available, and we write where this book is available from. Now, this is very, very important to always include the access information. So if you're dealing with online sources, which is most always the case, so when you're dealing with online sources, you write accessed, you write online, you write available. Okay? Please ask me questions on how to refer to books. Any questions?
No.
All right, let's continue then. So we've talked about how to refer to a book. Now, let's talk about how to refer to a journal. This is a bit more complicated, but not too much. So this is the standard template for referring to a journal. If you compare referring to a journal and referring to a book, you will see a definite pattern. So name of the article in the journal is within the quotation marks, same as the chapter of the book, and the title of a journal is italicized, same as the title of the book. Now, please note that you will have to abbreviate the title of the journal, and you will have to abbreviate the month of the publication of this journal. Take a look at the example. So the article is Application of Amorphous Oxide TFT to Electrophoretic Display. The author is Ito and 6 other people. So there are 7 people authoring this article. The journal is the Journal of Non-Crystal Solids. As you can see, the title of the journal is abbreviated. This is a volume journal, so the volume is 354. Okay, you can see the specification of the number and the pages. And naturally, the abbreviated the abbreviated title for the year, and the abbreviated title for the month and for the year. Yeah, let's talk about referencing an online journal. Oops, sorry. See, when you're referring to the internet source, you have to add the access information, which is accessed, online, and available. Now that online part is always the same with any piece of any source of outside information. Let's take a look at the example. So there are two people who wrote this article, Frischberg and Gobel. Okay, the article name is Quantum Dots Beyond Solar Cells, and the title of the journal is The Research in Technology Management. The journal title is abbreviated, as you can see. Please pay attention to the end of this referencing. It has got the access information. So accessed, the abbreviated name of the month. Then you've got the words online. Then you've got the word available, and then a link is included. Now this is the pattern for referencing an online journal. Once again, about abbreviating an abbreviation. Basically, you have to abbreviate the titles of the journal. IEEE has got the list of common abbreviations. Okay. Now, when you're making your reference list, you have to take a look at the title of the journal. Then IEEE has got a special table where they have all the standard abbreviations. Now, if the word from your journal title is in the list of that standard abbreviations, you have to use the abbreviated version of this word. That's number one. And number two, you have to lose all the articles and prepositions. Now, if the word from your journal title is not in the list of standard abbreviations, you just do not abbreviate it. Okay, let me show you that list of abbreviations. Can you guys see the document IEEE reference guide?
No.
You can't.
I mean, we can see only your PowerPoint presentation.
You can see only my PowerPoint presentation. Okay. Just a second. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Right. So IEEE reference guide, this is your primary document that we talked about and that I based my presentation on. Okay. So here in page 18, you have got the list of useful abbreviations and references. Now we're going there. So see, this is a list of common abbreviations of words and references. Now the link to this document is in the presentation. You will be able to access that. So suppose you want to cite an article in a journal. Okay, so you got the journal name. Once you have your journal name, you have to check the words in the journal name against this list of common abbreviations. Like for example, if your journal starts with the word the journal, let's check it out. Let's see if the word journal is in the list. See, it is in the list. So here, journal. So since the word journal is in the list, you have to abbreviate it just to one letter and to the dot. Okay. For example, if this is the Journal of Technology, let's check out the technology word. It's there, see? This is the word technology. Since the word is in the list of standard abbreviations, they have to be abbreviated to this. And of course, you do not abbreviate articles, so you just drop the, okay? And you do not abbreviate prepositions like of or in or about. You just drop them. Please ask me questions about how to refer to journals and articles. Okay, I just assume that you don't have questions. Let's continue with the presentation, shall we? We've got one last part of the presentation that is referring to conference proceedings. So this is the standard pattern. As you can see, the name of the conference also has to be abbreviated. Take a look at the example. So this is the paper presented at the conference. The conference is the 4th annual Allerton Conference on Circuit System Theory. The word PROC stands for proceedings. So a proceeding is a paper published as per the results of the conference. So the difference between referring to a conference proceeding and referring to a journal is that you've got that in before the title of the conference proceedings. Now, once again, when you're abbreviating conference names, you have to use standard abbreviations, you have to lose articles and lose prepositions. Okay, so the rules are the same, and you write numericals as numbers, not as words. Now, this is the list of the common standard abbreviations for conferences. That list is also in the same document that I've just shown you, IEEE Reference Guide. So if the word from the conference name is in this list, you abbreviate it. If not, you just don't abbreviate it. If you're referring to conference proceedings online, the procedure is the same as with books and journals. You just add the access information. So you're adding the information on when you access that information. You're showing that this is the online source, and you provide the link where this source is available. This is the example.
Is there any format for how we should write the location of the conference?
The location of the conference. The location of the conference is actually optional. So I guess if you're not sure how to write the location, you just drop it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. See.
Right. That'll be all. So we've discussed how to refer to books, to journals, and to conference proceedings. Please ask me questions. Right. Once again, this presentation was based on IEEE Reference Guide this is the link to IEEE Reference Guide. It's with the IEEE Authors Center. And this guide contains much more information about referring and citing any possible source of information, like repository, I don't know, video, interview, or whatever. So if you need to refer to a database, for example, you will have to go to IEEE Reference Guide and check out the template for referring to a database. So this is the end of the presentation. Please ask me questions.
No, I mean, that was pretty clear. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Right.
Can I-
Yeah, Hannah.
Something about technical writing.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that there are so many rules, but there are certain recommendations. For example, we know that we should avoid passive voice, and now we learned that we should avoid normalization. Other than these two, is there anything else that is like highly recommended?
In terms of effective text, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, there are several recommendations. Okay. Now, if you refer to the presentation from the previous class, it's in the group, you will see that there are some requirements as to the length of the subject, for example. It is recommended that you do not have a very long subject. Your subject usually does not have to be more than 3 words, because you know some authors really like to provide lengthy subjects of up to 15 words, which makes the text very difficult to read. That's number one. Number two, you might want to have your subject early in the sentence. Generally, the rule is that your subject should not be more than 5 words away from the beginning of the sentence. Right. Also, actually, there are much more recommendations. So if you refer to the presentation from the previous class, which is in your Telegram group, you will be able to see those recommendations.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you.
Right. Please ask me some more questions.
I would extend Hannah's question. Is there a good book on the academic writing we can read?
Yeah, there is one. Let me show you my favorite. This one. The Reader's Brain, How Neuroscience Can Make You a Better Writer.
Nice, thank you.
Yeah, it's a good book.
Seen that.
Actually, the university has got only one copy, and that's the one. So, but I understand it's available through Amazon.
Once again?
Excuse me?
Could you please show it once again?
Sure.
Thank you.
You'll have the video of this class. So,
yeah.
The Reader's Brain. It's a very good book. It's a good read. Actually, reads pretty much like a detective story. So, if you can get it, be sure to do so. It's available through Amazon, as I said, both in e-form and in paper form.
Perfect.
Right. What other questions have you got?
Is there anything that you consider a complete no for effective text? Like absolutely unacceptable?
Absolutely unacceptable. I think there'll be length. So a very common mistake is having very lengthy sentences. And when I say length, I mean, that length thing pretty much embraces all the things that we talked about. So people have lengthy sentences because they have nominalization, they overuse passive, they use redundancy, okay, and all that results in cumbersome and very difficult and long sentences, which make the text practically impossible to read. Hamna?
I'm sure. Thank you.
Okay, what other questions have you got?
Have you ever tried converting your passive voice to active via some online tool? Like, are you aware of any tool? Because I know that it's a very, maybe it's not a very good question, but sometimes it is really difficult to convert passive to active voice.
It is not always possible. There are three cases when you don't have to do that. Case one is when you do not know who did the action. Like the person was murdered. So you don't know who is the logical subject. But even in this case, you can get out of passive, like by saying somebody murdered the person. So that's case number one, when you don't know who is the doer of the action. Case number two, if you don't want to say who is the doer of the action. And case number three is when you're specifying methodology. Like, I don't know, the experiment was conducted and so on and so forth. But even in the last case, you can avoid using passive by using personal pronouns. And that is allowed. Like, I conducted the experiment, I received the result. That would make your text more effective. As for the online tools, I understand all of you are familiar with Grammarly.
Yeah.
And Grammarly really highlights that passive voice. So you could use Grammarly to pinpoint the passive voice trouble. But as I said, passive voice, there are three cases when passive voice cannot be replaced. But other than that, please avoid passive voice.
Thank you very much.
Please ask me some more questions.
Is there any regulation how we can use parentheses in the text?
Excuse me, parentheses?
Yes, yes.
I would discourage you from using parentheses. Usually when people use parentheses, it shows poor thought on the design of the sentence. So try to avoid that, because they make your text more difficult to read visually. There is no like strict regulations on how to use parentheses. There are just recommendations. So avoid parentheses if you can.
Okay.
What other questions have you got? Please ask me.
It's all clear, thank you.
All right, let's talk about the home task then. So your next class is going to be Monday, April the 18th. And for that, you will have to find 5 sources on your research, okay, and make a reference list of any 5 sources using IEEE standards. You do not have to submit that. We're going to discuss that in class, but you have to have the file. Do you understand the task?
Yes.
Like you just want to see the reference list. There should not be any text.
There should be no text. You're not doing in-text citation. So what you have to do is to randomly pick some of the sources that might be relevant for your research, okay, and make a list of those sources. It doesn't have to be very logical. We're just trying to practice IEEE referencing style.
So can I use LaTeX?
You can, but if you're using LaTeX, make sure that you double check it against the IEEE reference guide.
Okay.
As I said, LaTeX sometimes makes mistakes.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions on your home task?
Can you repeat home task in Telegram chat?
Yes, I will. Absolutely.
Thank you.
And I will send all the materials from today's class into the Telegram chat as well.
It's cool. Thank you.
What other questions have you got? Thank you, Sergey.
I think we are good.
All right, then that will be all for today. And we got 2 more classes left. We're going to devote those to the speaking part of your future PhD exam. If you don't have any other questions, that will be all for today, and I will see you Monday.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Have a nice day.
Same to you.